Carbide Thomas here. This is a giant pecan log. I don't even want to cut this, but Dad's got a job where he's got to cut this for someone, and I'm like, okay. I'm just not a big fan of cutting pecan. Now we do have the carbide blade on here, so that's going to make cutting this pretty much a dream, because you can't even hear this thing cutting right now. It's cutting so smooth. We are maxed out. I'm hoping we can get by everything. You see, that's pretty dang close. The same thing on the other side. We had to trim off a little bit, but that is the absolute biggest you could possibly put through this machine and still cut it without, really just modifying the log anymore. Whew. That's a big mama jamba. The machine's not even grunting. The 2220 is a beast. It's got more power and knows what to do with. There's sawdust going everywhere. Hop around the other side. Go around the blade graveyard over here. Yeah, that's a big mamba jamba right there. So we've been doing a lot of talk and stuff like this. We've talked about this in the past. We are going to be selling this sawmill probably next spring. So we're going to use it throughout the winter time. I think we're just shy of 1,000 hours on it. The machine's been great. But my next job, wherever I move to, I'm not going to be able to move my sawmill. So there's really no need for my dad to have 2 mills here, because he can only run one at a time. So I'm going to have him run my mill. And we'll go ahead and sell this mill. Strictly because they cut essentially the same. Now this mill here has been modified to cut a little bit longer. But they cut the same width. This one just has a lot more power. Oops, almost fell there. Always junk around the yard here. We're gonna get the tractor, we're gonna take this piece off, but I just wanna take a look. Oh yeah, real pretty. Give me a second, we're gonna go ahead and get the tractor, get this slab off here, and we're gonna take a look what this looks like. As you can see, good cut and everything. Not my favorite wood to cut. Pecan on the hardness scale is up there with hickory. So this is harder than like a white oak or anything like that. You can see the carbide blade there. But yeah, she is cutting through this hunking log right here. And we're gonna go ahead and do some more. We're gonna go ahead and do some more. I guess he's cutting them about 2-inch slabs. We're gonna take a look at the sawdust coming off this and see what it looks like. Machine right now is kind of dirty. Dad's been running it hard. But it's really not that loud. That carbide blade is just so quiet cutting through this wood. But we've got to go nice and slow. I mean, that right there is a greater than 2-foot wide slab. I mean, that's a beast right there. And it's cutting through like a dream. Nice flow of sawdust. It's a little bit more, I guess, aerosolized, like very fine particulate, meaning the blade is getting dull. Yesterday, he put this blade on here and he cut up 2 12x12 oak pants, essentially. And they're gonna be used at a local church as a cross. And they are massive. And I'll show you that here in a second once we finish up with this cut here. One thing I'll say about pecan though, it's one of the better smelling woods when you're cutting. So I don't mind that. But it's also like cutting a rock. I mean, it's just not fun to cut. Yeah. That's a mean gene piece of wood right there, though. Anyone who's cut hickory and pecan, they know what I'm talking about. Blade exit looks good. On this one here, I've got to give them some visual cues. Can't really hear too much. You can see the sawdust slow down, but because we have this like just junk off the backside here. We got to be very careful that we exit the blade properly before we make the cut. I guess he's gonna go ahead and leave that slab on there and get ready to go ahead and do the next cuts. You want to leave it on there? Yeah, leave it on there. That's fine. What are you cutting at?
I'm doing 3 inches now.
Okay.
I'm on scale.
Okay, you're on scale? All right. Yeah, as you cut away, that bottom part's gonna break off.
Yeah.
Because it'll be probably not this cut, your next cut, it'll drop off. But what I'll do is after you do this cut, I'll hit it with a hammer, see if we can just pop it off. Yeah, the person who dropped off this log, it had some nasty chainsaw marks and stuff like that. But I know, I'm not gonna stand here. I'm gonna move. Yeah, so if it breaks the blade, this is a blade you definitely don't want to be near if it ever breaks. That carbide blade is, it'll cut through anything. But again, while he's doing this cut here, we're gonna start the cut. You can hear it, barely. Yeah, that's over probably 30 inches wide on this cut here. That's crazy. While he's doing that, we're gonna walk over here and show you the big mamba jambas that he was cutting up, the white oaks and everything. We got Annie over here. We got Lucy. Not Susie, Jenny. Jenny is out here somewhere. I don't know where though. But we're gonna show you what we got over here. Looks like he's got some white pines over there, some white oak. Some red oak with some white oak on top. Some other type of subspecies of red oak. But yeah, these are the big white oak members that are gonna be for a giant cross. And you can see it hit nails. And then we told them, I said, hey, these logs he had here had nails. And they're like, that's fine, it's very fitting. So these are 12 by 12s and they're massive. That's gonna be the vertical portion, and that's gonna be the cross member portion. Again, they're gonna do a lot of work to kind of clean those up. The one behind it, that's actually a pine log I was cutting on a couple weeks ago. My dad's like, hey, I need some long pine beams, so quit cutting on that one, I'll give you poplar. Like, roger that, Dad, thank you. So, whew, those are big ones right there. And he's about ready to be finished up with this cut. So, head back down here. Probably take these 2 slabs off and see what it looks like. Okay, so the first cut was at 2 inches, maybe even 2 and some change. I don't know what that one was. This one's at 3 inches. We're gonna go ahead and take off these cuts here. He'll have to get the tractor up higher. Hey, you wanna go ahead and lift up the forks and I'll slide them off as best I can? Okay. All right, yeah, we're gonna put stackers on this. So when the customer comes here, it'll all be stickered and stacked for them. Because handling these behemoths here, not fun at all. Okay, we've got these down here safely. I'm not gonna show you how we did that. It wasn't pretty, but essentially we push it off and it literally lands onto here with some kind of force. But as you can see, it's beautiful. I mean, these are absolutely amazingly beautiful. That's over 30 inches wide right there, and the length on this looks to be about 7-ish foot or so. So, yep, we are definitely into the heartwood. Now it's gonna get kind of funky. We're gonna go ahead and probably do, does he want anything else other than slabs?
Not on this one.
How high is your pith on that side? Okay, so we're pretty level. I would say after this next cut, then we flip her. So we'll do another 3-inch cut on this side. We'll flip it over. We'll have a nice, you know, level working plane to work off of and everything. And yeah, that's just a big mama jamba. I'm not gonna lie, folks. I mean, it sounds like I'm complaining or whatever, but I do not like cutting pecan, especially of this size. It's just, it's so much work. It's so heavy. But it is very beautiful wood. Now, one thing I'll say about pecan though, like hickory, it likes to move. Yep, we're ready. It does like to move, so I'm not a big fan of that. But it is really pretty wood. So yeah, another 3-inch slab out of this thing. I don't know. I mean, these could almost be like desk tables. They could be. That almost sounded. That one a nail. Man, that is maxed out. That just shows you. Now we could have left those 2 slabs on there and cut this just fine, but I want to see what we're working with, make sure it's looking clean on the inside, see if there's anything we had to adjust. And we already know right now we're going to take this off, we'll be at the pith, then we'll turn her over and start cutting from the other side. And there's an actual method to the madness on that. The next few cuts that we cut on the other side, we're going to be cutting a narrower cut, so it's going to be quote unquote easier. And we'll kind of work our way up to that really, really wide cut. Plus, it's going to give me more time. I'll put these slabs off somewhere else. That's a pretty heavy load as it is right there. So we'll put those off to the side. We'll have to get the tractor to make this turn happen. Don't want to hurt any of the wood. And also, based on how short the log is, I really can't use a turner. That's a wide load right there, though. Absolutely wide load. I don't think there's anyone else on YouTube with a Timber King, you know, 2020, 2220, 2520, that's showing a pecan being cut this wide. I mean, we'll measure this slab when it comes off. This is probably gonna be one of our widest slabs. That's over 30 inches easily. Sounds good. I'm very impressed with these carbide blades. We run them till they blow. Trying to show that's a nice clean cut. There's no wave, dip, dive, anything like that. All right, let's get this beast off of here. All right, I told you it's over 30 inches. It's about 31 inches there. The narrowest part, we're like right at 30 inches. That does include some of the bark there. And the length on this, just over 6 foot. But how's that look right there? That's pretty amazing. This one right here, you mind pulling that out? Yeah, with 32 inches there. About middle of it's about 31 inches or so. Yeah, here's some big mama jambas right here. Does he want all of them at 3 inches?
Yeah.
So this one here, 3 inches.
The first one was 2.
The first one's 2. Would he be okay if we went 4 on this one?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because
Encompass the pit.
Encompass a pit, well, it's going to split down the middle regardless. It's so close and it's so... Does he want a mantle for anything? Might want to ask. Anyways, we'll flip it over. We'll see what the last cuts yield us. We might want to go a little bit thicker if he wants to keep it. But if he wants to do a mantle, we can cut a little bit thicker and split the pith. He'll have 2 mantles or 2 giant benches. I don't know. With it being 32 inches wide, I mean, that's 16 inches to work with on both sides, essentially. Yeah, whew. That's some big stuff right there. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and take this off and put this somewhere. I think we're gonna be delivering this load, so we'll probably load this up onto the trailer, and then we will, yeah, we'll load this onto the trailer, and then we will come back, use the tractor to take the log off, flip it over onto, you know, the soft ground and everything, put her back on there on that flat edge, and commence to cutting on the other side. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed my truck and trailer. We got these slabs on here. We've got some nice 4x4s underneath here, just monstrous. In total, we're gonna have probably about 2,500 pounds of these type of slabs, and the rest of the stuff that comes out of here is gonna be smaller stock. I guess it was just small chunks of pecan A lot of stuff's just gonna be small 2x stock, some 4x4s and stuff like that. I guess he's making tables out of this, question mark. All right, I gotta move a few things down here on the mill so we get this sucker off. And let me do that real quick. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is literally just gonna use the tractor, flip this thing over. That's a Mouse Killer 3000 right there, 3,000 pounds. So anyways, now he's gonna go up underneath here without digging to China, which he's digging to China. That's all right, yep, it'll do. That'll do, pig, that'll do. Okay, now we're gonna try to get this, I was gonna say, let me try to adjust it. There ain't no way I'm gonna adjust that. Everything's creaking and popping. That's a heavy Mamba Jamba still right there. Okay. He was saying earlier, it was like, that's about all the tractor wants to try to lift. Like, yep, that's a big one. Now, he doesn't have water in his tires, or fluid in his tires, so that's always fun. All right. There we go. As long as he gets it on there, look at all that dirt coming off. Yep, there we go. Now I can use the rest, or he can do that. So he's got it on essentially 2 bunks. And we're gonna have to push on this side right here to get that pushed over a little bit. You gotta be gentle with all these hydraulics, you'll break stuff. There we go. Perfect. And now I can take the log stops all the way down. Get all this nasty crap off here. Bring the tractor in. Nope, that's good right there. I'm gonna shock his tire because the parking brake's not working too great right now. Anyway, so now we can take the log stops all the way down, no longer needed. Get all this junk out of the way. And we can try to push the log over just a little bit more because we want to make sure that you're clear of the railing. You can see we're about a 1/4 inch over, maybe a 1/2 inch. So go ahead and take the log stops all the way down. Log stops all the way down. Yeah. Go ahead and take them down. Yeah. And it's good because he's on this bunk here, and we've got some on that bunk as well. Now, he really can't do anything. He's gonna lift up slightly here and then push it over, but we can't grab onto the actual log itself. There he goes. Now go over. Yep, there we go. So see, that just saved us just a little bit right there. So now we're maxed out. I mean, there's no way around it. We are just straight up maxed out. And we're gonna go ahead and get in place and start cutting again. Probably 2 inches or so on this first slab and the narrow stuff, and then get down to that 3-inch scale again. Yep, we're ready. All right, yeah, so we're ready to make this cut. This giant pecan. I took Annie for a run. She's getting tired. She loves living on this farm, I tell you what. On wood, the blade's running really well. The Carbide blade's been doing fantastic. We've put her through a lot of hard work, I'll tell you what. I always like to keep an eye on that blade, make sure she's not dipping or diving. Especially when a blade exits the log, If you see it kind of trail off or go up, that's an indication that blade's probably getting dull. Get this slab off and see what she looks like. Good clean looking log. I like how pecan likes to have these weird, you know, reds, maroons, pinks, and stuff like that. And he sees the other dogs. She's like, I'm gonna go play with them other dogs. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Farm dogs. Chi-Chi, the little chihuahua thing there, she thinks she's in charge. And he's gonna act all tough. The dogs. Gonna act all tough. She's happy. She loves the farm. I'm just happy she's not trying to kill the chihuahua, because that's what that hound dog likes to do, is kill small things. All right, we'll make the next few cuts here, all 3 inches from here. Okay. All right. Make these 3-inch cuts. Your water turn off? No, you're good. You got water, you're good. You want to make sure you had water going, especially when you're cutting something this wide. Yes, you could run diesel and stuff like that, but let me tell you the truth though, when you're cutting something this wide, the heat that builds up, water is going to be your best cooling agent for cutting super, super wide. That's just kind of a fact of life. That's why we cut mostly the wider cuts here in my dad's mill, because he's still running like a water type solution most of the time. As we get to the winter months, excuse me, he'll start cutting with that diesel, because of course during the winter time everything's going to freeze up on you. Now notice, you can't even hear that blade cut through there. That's indicative of a good blade. Very good blade. Gotta think. So this slab here, it's probably close to 2 foot wide, and we already know the slabs toward the bottom are that 30-inch or so range. So we have 3 slabs over there. So one at about 24 inches, the other 2 close to 30 inches. Just another 24-inch slab, and then we'll probably get 3 more slabs after this. We got to figure out what we're going to do with the 5th section. I think that's still up in the air. Also, when you're cutting slabs of this width, don't push it. Don't try to rush it. Cut slow. If you start trying to push through fast, wide slabs is not a fast game. I don't care who you talk to. When you're cutting dimensional, sure, cut fast all day. But the wide stuff, no, you gotta go slow. Gotta go slow. See that. Everything on there looks nice and straight. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this onto the forks. Actually, you know what? We're going to do another cut. I don't feel like moving the top slab right now. I'll tell my dad, let's do one more cut. I don't want to bore y'all with all these long, slow cuts, so let me see if I can throw on a time lapse. I had to take a pause, had to run the chainsaw just a bit to trim off that little section right there. I might actually have to get that. I think we'll be good. It's gonna be really close, but I had to trim off literally like a ½ inch right there, just where that bell section was. I think we're good now. So let's go back to a time lapse. Okay, as you see, we opted to not cut this down any further. The pith is dead centered on both sides and everything, and you can already start to see these pith lines coming through. If we were to cut this essentially in half, into that 3-inch thickness or anything, it's just gonna split right down the middle. So the member who we were cutting this for and everything, he wanted these 3x3s. He was gonna make some legs. I thought they're 4x4s, so they're actually 3x3s. He was gonna make some legs and stuff out of it. Long story short, this right here is going to be really good leg material. It's essentially off the pith. It's going to be all quarter sawn, so these will stay straight. What we found is the 3x3s, even trying to cut center cut on those, they were not staying straight. Hickory, pecan, they like to move a whole lot. This is just kind of like the fact of the wood and everything. So anyways, we're going to contact the member we were cutting this log for and everything to say like, hey, this could be your leg material. Maybe you want to go 6x6s because this could make you you might be able to get at least 2 6x6s on that side, 1 on that side, and maybe if you cut the center. There's a lot to work with here. So yeah, let's go also take a look at the trailer here. So again, 5 slabs at 3 inches, 1 at 2 inches. We do have that one round over there. The other round's next to the sawmill, but that was the entirety of the log cut up with that carbide blade. And I mean, you saw how it was cut and everything. Doesn't make any noise through there, minimal chatter or anything going on there. Very happy with that. So yeah, carbide blade for the win again. I don't know how many logs that blade's cut up. It's cut up a ton. Like literally we've sharpened it a number of times, and sharpening that thing's a pain in the butt, but it just keeps on keeping on. We run those blades. They're kind of expensive. They're like 150 or so a pop, but we run those blades until they blow. And they're good to have around for when you have a crazy job like this. In fact, you can cut multiple jobs with the one blade and still make your money's worth on it.
I cut the largest log I've ever cut on it.
Yeah, so I mean, the black walnut log that you cut, that was larger than this. I mean, it was a little bit larger than this, and it was maxed out, and it was 12 foot long. So the straightest, most beautiful black walnut you could ever imagine. This hickory here, or excuse me, this pecan here had this bell at the bottom, but that carbide blade just powers through. And like I said, we also cut up those white oaks yesterday and hit six nails on one log and 4 in the other. So 10 nails, and you can still see the cut quality. That's what separates a carbide blade from the rest of them and everything, is the fact that you can cut through those nails and material. Now, it's not ideal, but if we know a log has nails in it, and if it's a,
you can show him the picture of that.
A high dollar, oh, I showed him the post over there. If it's a high dollar log, or a customer doesn't really care that there's nails in it, we'll do it. Just
for a cross.
Yeah, that's going to be a giant cross. What are the dimensions? It's 12 by 12.
16 foot tall. It's a 12 by 12. So I don't know how wide the cross member is.
It's a lot.
It's 10 foot, so they'll cut it down. But
yeah, and then we had, oh, actually, that's the cross. I thought the other member over there was.
That's the tall portion.
Well, there's a tall portion, but there's another one behind it.
Yeah, that one I couldn't get big enough.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So the long one over there is a tall member. And then the other log down there, that is the actual cross member. Okay, that makes sense, because I thought that one had a lot of
6 nails and this one had 4.
Yeah, so, but it got it done.
Yeah. They're picking it up tomorrow.
They're picking it up tomorrow.
That's their problem to get it in the church.
Yeah, that's gonna be the whole, that's an all-man working party right there. So the other thing is you know, the carbide blade, having those on hand when you're cutting these massive jobs like this or anything, it really pays off. So we like to keep a couple on hand. I think, is that our last one we have?
I blew up the other one.
Okay, so yeah, that's probably the last one we have. We got to get some more on order. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Just shows you what we're doing. If you also like to see what's going on the farm, we're doing a ton of building on the other house over there. I got to get in there. Haven't done a video over there in a little bit. I had to go out to California for a week or so, but we're going to go over there today, start working on that. Also, I'm building the kids a deer stand / cabin. That's 12 by 8. Yeah, it looks pretty nice, and we're using all the scrap wood and metal and whatnot left over from the other house. But all right, we'll see you around. Please like, subscribe. Thanks.